Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King Dio, Lauren Frey, and the upcoming Mouth of the Dragon. So, now that the new year has started, like 3 months ago, I've slowly started falling back into the CinemassacreTruth subreddit. I've previously released statements saying that I wasn't really into the subreddit anymore. I said that they weren't really talking about anything new. They were regurgitating old points. They were kind of sounding A-loggy. They were kind of sounding overly whiny. I thought it was getting really stale and repetitive. I don't want to say I was wrong, because I still stand by that assessment, but the reason the subreddit was that way was because there was nothing new to talk about. Cinemassacre was not uploading anything until just recently. They uploaded some Mario Maker playthroughs, and they uploaded a Nosferatu video celebrating the 100-year anniversary yesterday, I believe. They've done stuff like that. But there have been no angry video game nerd reviews. There have been rumblings that Justin Silverman has left the company, has left Cinemassacre. There have been suggestions that they're making major changes behind the scenes, and I think it's time to start talking about the Cinemassacre channel again. The CinemassacreTruth, I suppose we could call this series, predictions as to what's going to happen next, because I think it's safe to say, 100%. I am 100% confident about this. Cinemassacre is dead. The golden goose has stopped laying its eggs. Nobody wants to watch James anymore. Nobody wants to watch the slobs. Nobody wants to. The Nerd's dead. James and Mike Mondays is dead. Rental Reviews is dead. You know what's bullshit is that we're at the point where there is nothing that Cinemassacre can do to bring back its audience. It has done too much over the past 2 years to alienate everyone who ever supported the channel to ever come back. I would say the vast majority of people who are watching now are either truthers or just people who randomly click on the videos and quickly shut them off. And I think the reason for that is there is no passion. There is no art to it. There is no enthusiasm, right? Because that's how I suppose became a Cinemassacre truther. Was being enthusiastic about the channel, enthusiastic about what James was doing, enthusiastic about classic nerd videos, and then watching, phoned in lazy content all the fucking time. Rental Reviews. There were a handful of episodes that I really liked. Star Trek V is one that I regularly went back to. But the vast majority of them, crazy, boring shit where James says nothing. The slobs just kind of ramble on about shit that nobody cares about. Mike is hardly ever there. It was boring. Other series, James and Mike Mondays was canceled. For a long time, I wasn't watching that either because James has no enthusiasm. And finally, I think the biggest thing, the thing that's really, really, really drained everyone's enthusiasm for Cinemassacre is that the angry video game nerd has officially jumped the shark. Now, I've heard people say the nerd is dead since the movie came out and probably even before that. But really, I think it's undebatable at this point is that 2020 2021 completely killed it. It was pure shit all year. There was not a single good nerd episode that year, and they somehow top it off with an hour-long clip show for episode 200. Just compare the Rob the Robot video to what they put out with episode 200. It's embarrassing. It's pathetic, and it is perfectly understandable why audiences aren't watching, why people are starting to be very critical of James and Screenwave, because they're not putting out anything to watch. There's nothing to fucking watch on the channel. You are spitting in the face of your fans who expect you to be talking about stuff you're enthusiastic about that you want, and you're just kind of expecting them to indulge you when it comes to being lazy and phoning everything in and being half-assed. And that's what it comes down to, is that James doesn't want to work. Like, that's all there is to it. Like, the motherfucker, all he has to do, play video games. That's fucking it. And make them entertaining. Like 10 years ago, like, it would have been like a little bit too early to cover like GameCube or N64 games or PS1 games. Dude, like, now that stuff is retro. Now that stuff is worth talking about. Like, why have you not been discovering new interesting things about pieces of hardware from that period? Why have you not talked about, like, Hey You Pikachu or the stuff like Conker's Bad Fur Day for a long time? Like, why are you not talking more about good games? Why have you not expanded your repertoire to sort of discover new things to talk about? Like, if James was on a set schedule, if he was putting out like quality nerd episodes every month, while still like producing James and Mike Mondays, while still producing like rental reviews, while still producing like Rex Viper videos, like, I don't think anyone would have a problem with him now. But the issue is he's not doing that. And like, the old tired of excuses of like, oh man, he's not passionate about this stuff. He's a movie guy. Like, transition and talk about movies. Like, he had a golden opportunity to do that with rental reviews, and he completely botched it. Like, he completely failed to capitalize on this image of he had built for himself as like being more of a movie person. You know what I mean? Like, the long and short of it is that, like, he didn't want to put any effort into anything. Like, he outsourced the Screenwave, which was a bad fucking idea. He never learned, I think, how YouTube even works, because everything we've learned over the years is that, like, Mike used to handle everything with the channel, and now Screenwave does it. And now he won't even, like, produce videos. He won't make films. And like, he just keeps making excuses. And what it comes down to is that he's not willing to do anything. He's not willing to develop his skill set as a filmmaker. He's not willing to, like, cover new topics. Like, all he wants is to be famous for doing absolutely nothing. It's the same mindset that Spoonie got in. Like, once he had fame, once he had attention, that was it. There was no motivation to continue working. And James, I think, is kind of in the same mindset where, like, he legit thinks he's had it made, and he doesn't need to continue working anymore. He can just take it easy for the rest of his life. But no, he obviously didn't invest. He obviously doesn't have money saved up. He obviously spends it on, like, frivolous things. Like, I think he bought a new house that he probably can't afford. Like, I'm sure things are rougher at Cinemassacre than we're led to believe. I don't necessarily believe the rumors that Justin has left. I think that's a publicity stunt. I think Screenwave thinks that if they put it on the front of, like, Justin not being involved with the channel, they can kind of recover some PR points for that. But, like, that's not going to work. Like, it's not fixing the fundamental problem in that, like, you're not producing anything that people want to watch. And what Screenwave did, was attach themselves to a successful YouTube channel and have promptly ruined it in less than 3 years. How long have they been involved? Since, like, 2018, right? About 3 years. Probably 2. Like, the instant they took the reins, they immediately shit all over everything. Like, nobody liked watching them. Nobody liked watching their takes. They can't edit. They can't write scripts. They can't do anything. Like, they're completely worthless. But James refused to do it. Like, James didn't want to work. And just hired these obvious sycophants. But the thing about Screenwave, they attach themselves to James Rolfe to try and make themselves and their company, Screenwave, look more legitimate. Like, look, we've partnered with the Angry Video Game Nerd. Like, if you partner with us, we'll help you with your videos. We'll promote your content. We'll help you with the algorithm. Yeah, the almighty YouTube algorithm. Yeah, you do such a great job of that, guys. Just look at how much James Rolfe's views have tanked over the past couple of years because of you, right? You don't do a very good job of gaming that algorithm, do you guys? It's unbelievable. What they've done is essentially they've driven this channel into the ground. Like, the golden goose has stopped laying golden eggs. Like, there's nothing they can do to recover from this. And no matter how many times they pretend to fire Justin or pretend that James is going full throttle on new videos, it's not going to change the fact that the audience isn't entertained anymore. They don't like what they're seeing, and they're leaving in drones. I myself have unsubbed from Cinemassacre, unsubbed from Mike Matei. I'm sure if I was subscribed to any other channels with Screenwave that were Screenwave affiliated, I would unsub from them too. People are refusing to go to cons that have Justin and Kieran there. People are freaking out about this, and it's not hard to see why. Seeing such an iconic, beloved YouTube channel go down this route is disheartening. It really is kind of depressing, to be honest with you. Considering if I had James's opportunities, I've thought about this a lot when it comes to Spoonie and other people like that. If I was able to get on, if I was the AVGN, what would I have done? I would have transitioned into streaming. I would have opened a Patreon. I would have sold my books. I would have produced new original content. I would have done all this stuff, and I guarantee you, I would have been a millionaire long before where James is now. I would have been able to retire. I would have been able to capitalize on my success, and it feels like James did not do that because he's kind of stuck producing videos. So what should James do hypothetically in this situation? I think he needs to acknowledge that the nerd is done, Cinemassacre is over. He can't continue doing this as a career, but he's not going to do that because that would mean parting ways with the only thing that's ever brought him any real success in his life, the fucking internet. And I don't really see him doing that. He's going to continue making content even though he obviously doesn't enjoy it, and it's just going to alienate more and more of his viewers. More and more Cinemassacre truthers are born every day because of James Rolfe's, because of the angry video game nerds' actions.